Hey guys, welcome to Big Oz Official. I am joined by the one and only Don Idrees, the main man behind WUS, Coresports. We have a very big event for you guys coming up. Eddie Hall versus Thor Bjornsson, the Beast versus the Mountain, and it's happening. We've got the date. There's no getting out of it now. They're going to get in that ring. Tell us about it.
I think it's at this point you can't say we've got a big event. I think the sentence needs to end with finally. Right?
Because I was tempted to go down the rock roll and finally this match is happening. But
jeez, man,
I thought it's been a while in the making.
Look at it this way. Let's give you some perspective. The deadlift where Thor announced this after he did the 501 was on May 2nd, 2020, right? The fight is now happening March 19th, 2022.
Yeah.
That's 22 months, give or take, which is exactly the same as an elephant's pregnancy, right? There's been a global pandemic. There's like been 18 variants of COVID, the world lockdown, then it opened up again. A few people I know have died. A couple of new babies have been born. It's almost like it's a whole new demographic, a whole new group of people are going to be watching this fight, right? It's just dragged on and on and on, and to the detriment of the project. I mean, look, honestly, when this idea came about, excuse me, if we would have somehow executed that fight, no matter how shit it was, within 3 months of it being announced, can you imagine the uptake? And there was nothing to watch. There was no content. There was feats of strength and Tiger King. And the video with the African funeral dancers. That's what kept us sane during lockdown. There was nothing else, right? But the thing is, they couldn't, at that time, can you imagine if we would put both of them in the ring at that time? They couldn't box eggs or Christmas presents, let alone, they would have been dead within like the first round. So it had to take its course. They had to train professionally, but then the injury and then moving it from Florida, it's like the worst. But yeah, finally Eddie's all healed up. Thor was ready. And I think they both had commitments from April onwards. I've said, look, there's an opportunity here. Let's just take it. And we were in talks with, I'm not sure how, am I supposed to say this? No, we were definitely in talks with doing it at the Arnold's in Columbus. And that was all going well and good until something with the Ohio State Athletic Commission. They were insisting on drug testing. And I'm like, that's not going to work. I mean, that's really not going to work. So I was asked the question, whoa, sanctioning. And this. I'm like, look, you know what? Let's just cut our losses short. I know where we can get away with it and where we can do whatever. So let's just do it here. And it was a great opportunity because the venue's great. It's on St. Patrick's Day weekend in Irish Village, right? So, and the fight's not on until 1 a.m. Dubai time.
Yeah, I was going to ask about timings and stuff so people understand. So if it's 1 a.m. in Dubai, it's going to be 9 p.m. UK time.
Correct. 9 p.m. UK time, but we're going to start the stream and coverage around 8:30 p.m. UK time, which is 12:30 Eastern. 12:30 Pacific, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. So it kind of covers it's a Saturday afternoon in the US and it's a Saturday evening in the UK.
Yeah.
Nice, non-offensive.
There's going to be loads of people, and myself included, will give people their opinions on who's going to win the fight and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to go into that today with you. I want people to understand where they can watch, how they can watch, do they have to pay? So timing-wise, sounds very good in terms of a UK audience particularly.
It gets better. It gets better thanks to our most recent we made a very, very good deal, a partnership with this streaming platform called Segi TV. Okay. Segi essentially stands for Sycamore Entertainment Group Incorporated, so international, I don't know. They're a Canadian-based company. It's a publicly traded company. So there's been a bit of a change in the way content is being consumed. especially after COVID when everybody and their goats were putting out content and trying to charge for it. Then with all the celebrity boxing and the Jake Pauls and the Logan Pauls, let's just say it's safe to say that the pay-per-view model was exhausted, right? Just looking at examples of what they were selling in 2020 in 1 million or 1.3 million or 1.4 million purchases has now dwindled down to like 180. Yeah. And it's a risky business. I mean, look, we do arm wrestling. Arm wrestling is pay-per-view for us. It's one of our most profitable properties.
Yeah.
But you don't know until the last hour if you're going to still have your shirt on or not. It's super, super risky. So this new model, which is essentially, think it's a digital form of the way TV used to be in the 80s and the 90s. People watch it for free and the advertisers pay for it.
Sure.
So you sell the ad spots, the commercials, and that's what pays for you to be able to stream a show for free. Yeah, it's just that this is digital. So it's called the AVOD model, advertising driven video on demand. Yeah?
Okay.
I was working with them on a different project and down the line, maybe in July. And I said, hey guys, I mean, we've got this opportunity. And honestly, at this point, after all the musical chairs and the event being changed, I'm like, it's the fans, you'll get crazy viewership if it's for free.
When you told me it's going to be for free, it kind of changed my view on people watching. I mean, I know I spoke to my brother. My brother's a good boxing fan, but he wasn't going to pay to watch this fight.
Yeah.
He'll tune in for free though.
No, absolutely. That's the whole point. I mean, it's actually easier than YouTube because there's a landing page that you click on the day of the fight. You land on it and you click play. YouTube, you still have to go to a search bar. So we've made it so easy. Obviously, from when we announced on Thursday, I think, was it a couple of days ago? Traffic, right? So now we have a couple of weeks to stress test it, to perfect it, because you don't know. I don't know how much live viewership there's going to be, but within the first 24 hours, you know how YouTube views works. It's like just but live, we're expecting a large amount of people, because at this point, even if somebody's like, you know what, it's fine, let me just see what happens. I'll have a go. It's not costing me anything.
I think, of course, there's always hardcore fans that are going to tune in and pay, but the majority would probably just wait for some highlights to come up or whatever. Now people are going to tune in.
People are going to tune in, and yes, we have. So from arm wrestling, we've developed sort of, let's say, we've got a little pit bull army of anti-piracy guys, right? Who just go and just rip into everybody's YouTube's copyright claims. They're going to be on standby because the deal is it's exclusive to Segi and it's going to live there. So still taking it and putting it on YouTube and somebody else monetizing on it is a no-no. But the chances of somebody ripping it off and putting it on YouTube go a lot less because it's free.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if you're the guy who's going to steal free shit and sell banner ads, then, I mean, you're a dickhead. I mean, why? I mean, this event is costing us an arm and a leg. It's cost us 2 years of our lives. Right. We signed that contract. I was 43 years old, and now I'm 87, 87 creeping up on 90. So we put in so much effort. Whether people are against it or not, we figured out a way to put it out for the fans for free, because strength fans don't pay for anything. It's just that simple. Strongman fans are not going to pay for shit. Combat fans are used to paying. They're born with the conditioning.
Even combat fans. I've seen a lot of more complaints recently. I mean, the Canelo fight is ridiculous in terms of the cost.
There's $80 or something
ridiculous like that.
But it's Canelo. He's still going to sell. There's 5 or maybe 10 guys in the world who are pay-per-view stars, and that's why they get paid so much money. Right? It doesn't mean that there's a big misconception that the amount of followers you have on social media equates to the number of dollars. No,
it's. I mean, and the thing is, I mean, let's be realistic here. Canelo, one of the greatest boxers on the planet. Eddie and Thor, 2 big guys that have trained, but they're 2 big guys having a scrap.
Do you remember not that there's any comparison, but do you remember the Real Dada versus Kimbo Slice MMA fight?
Yes.
Right? It's still known to be one of the most viewed, and it was a shit show. It was terrible, right? but it was free. It was ad driven. It was on TV. It was a broadcaster deal. It wasn't a pay-per-view. I don't think anybody would have paid to watch that. I really don't think so. So the hype, now we've got 3 weeks and now the boys have started. I think the real confidence in people is going to happen when both actually arrive in Dubai.
Yeah.
When in our paper.
Yeah. I know, like, before you guys asked me to be involved with this, just morbid curiosity wants to watch two of the biggest, strongest guys, very similar in personality, maybe different in terms of the way they go about things. But when I say personal, I'm on about their work ethic. They're both two alpha males that believe they are the best. You know, they clash, I think, because of that.
It's the two sides of the same coin kind of a thing, you know? And they'll never admit it, but they have so many similarities.
They do.
They'll probably kill me if they heard this, but they do have a lot of similarities. The end result, I want to get to this goal. They both may have different methods of getting there. They both may have different attitudes. They both have different sensitivity levels, but that drive, it's not different.
No. And from that experience of being around them both, competing against them both, they are two of the hardest working people I've ever met.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, regardless of them being pro boxers or whatever, however we look at them, ever since they decided to do this, both of them will have been training their asses off.
Generally, they don't do things halfway, or they just don't do it. I mean, they're going to do it all the way, or I'm not going to do it. And people online are like, "Oh, Eddie's not taking it as seriously as Thor, because Thor's." I'm like, yeah. The only difference is Eddie's not taking it any less seriously. He's just not putting it out there.
Yeah.
Again, same goal, different path. You know. So, and here's what's interesting: the crowd, the fans, they're just like, it's a roller coaster. Just ask anyone, who do you think is going to win? Started off with this guy's going to win. The opinions are switching, but on an average, it's consistently 50-50.
Yeah.
It's consistently 50-50. Steak Kings, we worked with Steak Kings before. We, doing the event in Dubai, we can't promote gambling because it's illegal. So we can't have a gambling sponsor or whatever. And I'm sure it's Paddy Power. I'm sure there's bookies everywhere who are taking bets on this. If Vegas took $30 million in bets on the Michael Todd Devin Larratt fight, arm wrestling match, I'm pretty sure there's a load going on this one. Steak Kings is the only one we know about, because Devin kind of runs it, and it's simple. It's you buy blocks. When both guys are equal, you move on to the next block, and it's always a 1.7 payout.
Yeah,
like if you buy $100 worth, that's you've invested. You're an investor now, and if your guy wins, you get 170 back, and that's a big driver of live viewership as well. It's just
it makes it
50-50.
Yeah,
people are saying Thor is technically a better boxer. Oh, but Eddie's aggressive. He's going to come out swinging. It's just comment section galore. I love it.
This is the fun part of it for me. This next few weeks building up to it, seeing what the guys have got to say about each other, the headspace, the mind games, which I think most of us will agree Eddie's probably better at. But it's not until we get into that ring that things are decided. What's said until they both step in that ring, we just don't know.
I'm slightly concerned because we're creating certain situations where they have to sit with each other. So you remember Coogan?
Yes, yeah.
So Coogan is doing the across the table.
Brilliant.
In the media suite. Right?
I've watched IFL TV for years.
So I don't know how that's going to go. Then we've got the press conference on St. Patrick's Day. And then I don't know why I came up with this. The press conference is in the hotel. We're going to walk out in the middle of Irish Village, and it's at 9 p.m. to do the weigh-ins against a big screen, right? In front of like a couple of thousand people. So I don't know what's going to happen. Well, you're going to be there. You'll see what happens.
I'm going to be there. You got myself and Barry Jones doing the commentating.
Yes.
Which is quite cool. I think it's a cool mix of someone that understands the history between these two guys, and then obviously an expert boxing.
It needed to be that. It needed to be that. Two boxing commentators were pitched to us, and we're like, look, the thing is, there's no undercard. Everything is around just one fight. Yeah. Of course, people had been drinking for 72 hours. It's free seating. So there may be an undercard, but like an unsanctioned, unsolicited undercard. But I said, look, if the whole concept now is just this one fight, it needs a strongman historian and a boxing expert.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the viewership piece is not complete. You're not enjoying the stream. Like a boxing guy doesn't know as much about strongman as you do.
Sure.
And you don't know much about boxing, no matter how big of a fan you are, as Barry Jones or whatever, So it's a nice little mix. Who else is going to be there? A lot of people are showing up, flying in for. So we sold out all our floor seats in 36 hours.
People keep telling me, "Oh, we're going to see you out in Dubai. We're coming over." I'm like, "Wow, this is going to be a cool week away."
The hotel was giving us numbers of how many people actually, because we got our group rates extended to whoever wanted to fly over. And they were like, what the hell is going on over here? I mean, like, just keep booking after booking after booking. It's like something like 178 room nights already of people just flying in just for the fight. I'm like, yeah, you're welcome, motherfuckers. Excuse my language. So
for people wanting to watch it, Segi TV.
More info will be announced as the time goes by, but Segi TV, essentially www.segi.tv.
Okay.
It's just that simple. They have movies, they have other content, but for this purpose, for the next 3 to 4 weeks, the landing page, when you put in www.segi.tv, the hero image is Eddie and Thor, and that's it. Underneath that, the player will be there. We're probably going to stream the press conference there, then we're going to give them another couple of pieces of content. But that's where you go, and that's the only place you can go to watch the fight live. We're going to start coverage about half hour. I'll brief you in on that because I need you to, sort of, for the viewer, build up why this happened from your opinion. Because if you ask Eddie, if you ask Thor, they both have different opinions. I'll just get your opinion on it.
Yeah.
A few ringside speculations and interviews of the people who are sitting up front. You'll have help with that one. You'll have help. I think what's her name? Danny something.
Danny Levy.
Yeah. She's flying in to help out. And then after that, so Tom Urquhart is our ring announcer. 1 o'clock kind of build-up starts. I'm expecting that the first ring walk is going to be around 1:15.
Okay.
1:20 maybe first bell. And then it could be anywhere between the full 23 minutes, 6 rounds, and
6 seconds.
Or I don't know. I don't know. The whole thing might be over in like 6 minutes. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be fun.
It is going to be fun. One more thing about the boxing match before we move on.
Yeah.
Between these two, obviously, I mean, I've got a lot of respect for them both, particularly as athletes. I almost get frustrated now at this hatred between them. I'm hoping they have this fight, win, lose, or draw. They shake each other's hands and move on. What's the likelihood of a rematch?
So
I can't wait another 2 years for a rematch.
No. So here's, I've been having this conversation with them actually. See, it's very hard to gauge because they're both so bullheaded. So people have been approaching us asking for post-fight interviews. I'm like, I can't guarantee you that. Yes, they're great sportsmen, but I don't know what kind of mood which one is going to be in or what output they'll be able to give the media. They have some obligations, of course.
It's very different to being at a strongman competition as well.
Totally different. Totally
different mindset.
You just got punched in the face or whatever it is. You just don't. I don't know how they're, because none of them have been in a real fight.
No.
In front of a professional fight.
Absolutely.
That I know of. So that's going to be a new one for us. Now, the contract has a rematch clause. I've spoken to them both about it. If there's going to be a rematch, it's going to be within the next 6 months after this. I don't think either of them. I mean, the whole reason for waiting this long was they wanted to learn boxing. Now it's just about I win, you win, or it's a draw or whatever. Now it's just, and again, finances are going to be a very, very important piece of the puzzle. Does it make sense to do another one?
Sure.
Because if it doesn't, I'm not going to do that again. They both want to fight, though.
Yeah.
Not necessarily each other. They both want to fight. So
really? I knew that Thor wanted to kind of keep going with this. I didn't know that Eddie was looking
Yeah,
at?
well, I mean, it's got to be the right fight. It's got to be the right amount of money, but he's up for it. Yeah, why not? He's loving it. He's totally loving it now.
Interesting. All right.
So
Enough of the boxing. We're going to be talking a lot about that in the next couple of weeks. Let's talk strongman, because you guys have been quiet in terms of strongman. Nothing's been announced for this year. What's happening in the strongman world with WUS?
it's just partially it's my fault because I had a bit of a rough December and January, as you know. I had some family stuff I had to take care of. My mom, I was away. The thing is, Mark and I haven't had a chance to sit down and properly talk the plan, but call it strategic restructuring. So I think the direction we're going to go is we're going to do the yearly big show, World's Ultimate Strongman, back to where it belongs, towards the October area. Yeah. And then all the grassroots and the qualifiers and everything else, that's mostly Mark is going to take care of that. The Middle East Strongest Man, the Dubai Strongest Man, like consistent shows to bring out more and more athletes, bring them up. But the yearly one, I think, and please don't quote me on this yet, because I still have to get his okay on this. I think we're just going to stick to one really big show.
Yeah.
Possibly jack up the prize money. Oh, it's going to be the women and the men. Kind of like what we did last year.
Is it going to include the women as well?
100%. Well, we started it. We can't.
Yeah. That's really cool.
It's just the opportunity has to be really, really, really good for us to consider doing it a second time in the same year. So unless there's a hosting fee or unless somebody's paying for it, and more important than paying for it, willing to stick to our standards, because we get offers from loads of countries, but they can't provide the right hotels, they can't provide the right treatment for the athletes, and we only started this thing to up the game. Now, if there's some country that's willing to give us to come and do it for a free venue, okay, show us the hotel, and you're like, nah, not after what we've done. You can't. You can't provide. Is there a need for it? I don't think so. One big show a year. More athletes.
One big show a year. There's plenty of World's Strongest Man is once a year. It's as long as you can put on quality.
Exactly.
The fans and the athletes are more interested in that than loads of shows.
Exactly.
Every week.
Exactly. Plus, there's a lot of shows going on. The
season's stacked for guys now, and they do need to be selective about what they do.
They need to be selective, or the promoter needs to be careful of, okay, is this too much for the guys? Because some of the guys want to do all the shows because of the money or whatever, but is that good for them? Is that good for their health? Why not do that? And at the same time, sort of start building relationships with the athletes to teach them how to monetize without having to tear up their biceps or... I think you and I talked about this once.
We are starting to see that now. I think this year is probably going to be the best year for it. I think we'll see more variety in terms of athletes at big competitions. I think that's going to be great because all these different regions will get opportunities. I mean, what you guys are doing in the Middle East now, we're going to start seeing more and more great athletes coming out of there. America and Europe have already been, strong for a few years now, but we're seeing contests all over the world. Australia, they're getting some brilliant athletes now, and I think it's going to continue to grow, and we're going to have a worldwide sport. For a long time it was dominated by Eastern Europe, it was dominated by Scandinavia, then it's the American. It kind of went in this little circle, but now we're seeing amazing athletes from all over the place. So it's good to see these big shows all over.
And the shows are getting better. The shows are getting better. The streams are getting better. The broadcast is getting better. The money, I hope, is getting better for everyone. I mean,
the money's definitely getting better. I can promise you that compared to what I was winning when I was at my prime.
I'd like us to take credit for that, actually, because it would have stayed stagnant if we wouldn't have disrupted it a little bit.
Competition's good. It makes everyone up their game. So
everybody can disagree. I don't care.
Whether you're athletes, promoters.
I'm going to take credit for us. Whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. We're still taking credit for it.
The other thing that you guys do a lot of right now is the arm wrestling. I know you're kind of working with Larry Wheels, and that's been going great. And you guys know I'm a big arm wrestling fan.
It's my favorite thing ever. It's my favorite thing ever. I'm like, what the fuck have I been doing with my life with Strongman and all the others? This is brilliant. This is brilliant. It takes 2 weeks to put together.
You just need
not a lot of surface area. It's a table, And the guys are amazing. They're easy to work with. You know what it is? It's kind of like when we got into Strongman. It wasn't there, but it needed you know what I mean? I think maybe Giants Live were the only ones who were kind of, and that's only because it was in the UK, where the Strongman fan base is the biggest in the UK.
Sure,
maybe it's bigger in terms of number in the US, but you can't travel that easily to one arena.
We have that small location, so we can get so many people that don't have to travel too far.
Exactly. So, but taking arm wrestling mainstream, it just needed somebody who's not. There was a lot of corruption on this side, and a lot of complaints, and the same thing, like athletes getting paid like $500 or $1,000 or whatever it was, and it just needed a new, fresh face. And the thing about the arm wrestling community is, arm wrestling technically is seen as a combat sport. It's a guy against a guy, so there's that. When a fan is watching, you get behind your dude.
Yeah.
And because it's combat, you're kind of used to paying for it. It's not a pool more than 50,000 people, but they are so hardcore.
Yeah.
And they pay well. They pay for quality, but you do not cross them. They will get technical on you. They'll just you didn't mention if it was left arm or right. I don't know anything about that. You know me. I'm just a whatever. But our support team is like, oh, what do I say? They're asking me like things about top roll and whatnot. Like they get really technical. Yeah, but they're amazing. Free marketing. Devin or Levon or anybody puts out something, free memes will start floating around the internet. Free promo videos. Yeah. Unsolicited. We don't ask anybody for anything, but that's the arm wrestling.
I think the arm wrestling community are great for promoting their sport. Obviously,
so good.
I mean, you got guys like Schoolboy, whose channel's gone ridiculous. I think Larry Wheels has helped massively with his interest in the sport.
Massive.
And characters like Devon Devon can talk about anything and you'll be engaged. Yeah. So, he's just got that kind of personality. He does make you want to listen and want to get invested.
It's a great ambassador.
He is. He really is. And, obviously he's got this big match coming up. Win, lose, or draw. He's the main man to have in there because he'll bring the biggest audience. And if can he get that pumpkin arm big enough to do anything against Levin? That's the real
thing. I mean, you know how long it took us to put that together? It took us the better part of, probably since April last year. We've been trying to get that put together, but like the promoters wouldn't allow it. There was always something or another. And then Devin had work, Levon had work, and it just would. And this is the, whatever you want to call it, the AJ versus Fury of.
This is definitely where I want to see Devin. I don't want to see him in a ring ever again.
He does not belong in a ring, but he had so much fun. He had so much fun.
He's just
he still says it was probably because you see the thing is Devin goes like this sometimes, and he needs a pick me up.
Yeah,
he got picked up when Michael Todd the match happened. He completely changed his life around. He was going back into that. It's just a new challenge, isn't it? People who operate on challenges.
That's a very common trait for athletes.
Most
just athletes in general. They need
some more than others. I need a goal. I need a goal, basically.
Yeah. Without that goal, they do kind of fall into that lull. But I think the arm wrestling has been really cool. You've got an event on the week after the boxing, I believe. King of the Arm 3?
It's 2, actually. 2. So we're doing the Eddie and Thor fight on March 19th. And then on March 26th, we're doing King of the Table. But like Coresports side of the business, we've been contracted to do another boxing show in the same arena as the Thor fight. It's a Legacy. It's a German promotion, and they've got a load of Latino fighters on. So we're doing both simultaneously.
You like to keep stress, don't you?
Well, now we've got a big enough team, and like we're able to divide it up. I mean, we did it for King of the Table too. I was doing the Probellum show, and Zena was running King of the Table. Look, Laws, to quote somebody famous, and I can't remember who it is, if you can't ride 2 horses at the same time, you have no business working in the circus. So, I mean, it's tough, but once you have that team that you can rely on, it's King of the Table. I'm not saying it has its difficulties, but they're much more easily controlled.
Sure.
When you're doing a big arena show, way too much can go wrong.
Yeah.
King of the Table, something goes wrong, you can see it going wrong right in front of you, and you can just run over and fix
it. Right there. It's not like a strongman event where you've got multiple events to contend with, multiple people. You know, I totally understand that. But I'm glad to hear that Strongman is coming back to.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. No, that's never going to go. We're never going to let that go.
Really
We're never going to let that go.
The women's side is still going to be pushed. That's I'm sure that for the ladies that are watching, they're going to be very pleased to hear that.
We had such a great time in September, didn't we? It was such a great time.
Yeah,
it was like 10 days of just smiles and happiness and food and all. Did you go drinking with them, or because I got weird reports that there was a lot of drinking going on?
We all kind of had a pretty heavy night, and I'm not a big drinker, so I was feeling it the next day.
Yeah. That's pretty much what's been going on. I mean, all good stuff. Glad that the capacity here is opening up. I think it's a tricky bit. Day before yesterday, they announced that masks are off. Masks are a choice. Like, it's your choice.
Cool.
So you're like, yay! But then you go into a building and they're like,
"What is this?" Because I think when we come
COVID
to Dubai, we won't have to do the test
PCR.
So that's really cool.
So outside, you can choose to wear it or not wear it, but I think an establishment still reserves the right to make you wear it.
Okay.
So they're like, it's optional. So you're like, my option is to take it off, but then you walk into a restaurant, they're like, well, our option is you keep it on. So you're like,
and then you sit down and you can take it off again. And
exactly. Wear it from here to here, and then here again. So it's on its way out. It's on its way out.
Finally. Right. Well, I'm glad we've been able to catch up with you. It sounds like you've got a very busy year with boxing, arm wrestling, strongman, strongwoman. I'm sure you've got other things going on as well that I won't even ask you about today, but it's always
we'll talk when you get here. We'll talk when you get here.
I'll look forward to it. Guys, Segi TV is the place to watch the boxing. 19th of March is going to be 9 p.m. in the UK, 1 a.m. Dubai time. What we're looking at in the States is like 4 p.m., something like that?
4 p.m. East Coast time and 1 p.m. like lunchtime Pacific time.
So decent times for everyone that wants to get involved and see what happens. It's going to be fun. I think, I won't sit here and say it's going to be the most amazing boxing match we've ever seen, but it will be fun. And the build-up is always going to be...
It'll be a good laugh. It'll be a good laugh. It could be a good laugh. An expensive laugh, but a good laugh. Can't wait for you, Ken. It'll be great to see you guys. You're flying in on the 15th, right? I think
we are. Yeah, looking forward to getting over.
Beautiful, guys. Everybody, thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next cartoon.
While you're here, guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome strength content.